Hey, it's Mr. Johns. Welcome to race number 2 in the Grizzly Mountain Downhill Diecast Raceway Series. Yes, they asked me to stay on and do another race. I'm surprised that anybody wanted to see another race, but there were some fans, there were some comments asking if we could extend my visit here to Boise, Idaho, and start another race. So we had a few cars show up last night asking if they could please run the raceway. If you aren't familiar with diecast racing, the drivers, like a lot of series, travel all over the country racing in different events, in different cities for the meager cash prizes. As far as I know, don't tell the drivers, but there aren't any here. So let's get started in this second race. And the cars all showed up with transport vehicles, and so we're going to call this the Team Transport Series. The cars must all have Real Riders wheels, and if you're not, or tires. If you're not familiar with what that means, Real Riders are real rubber. And so unlike most Hot Wheels cars that have plastic wheels or tires, the Real Rider series have real rubber, giving it quite a bit more grip. So I'm curious to see how these vehicles do on the downhill track. So we have at the top, bright orange Volvo. Next to that, 69 Ford Mustang Boss 302. Next to that, in British green, the Jaguar E-Type. And on top of the Volkswagen hauler, we have the Porsche. Wait, what's that? I'm hearing that the Volvo has been disqualified for having traditional plastic tires, which are supposed to give quite an advantage to downhill racing, less friction, I suppose. So we are hearing that we have a backup driver who has just arrived and unloaded his Corvette Stingray coupe with Real Rider tires, and so he will be replacing the orange Volvo so that we have 4 fair vehicles. So here we have it again. We've got the Corvette Stingray, which will be in lane 1, the Mustang Boss Mustang 302 in lane 2, the Jaguar E-Type in lane 3, and like I was saying, this is a Porsche 356A in lane number 4. So what's interesting about these vehicles, the Jag and the Porsche are quite light, while the Mustang and the Corvette are quite a bit heavier vehicles, and we'll see how that plays out on the track. So could mean nothing, or weight could mean everything in a purely downhill gravity race. So a closer look at the Mustang, and it is a beautiful car. So yeah, definitely in its classic Ford blue, the Jaguar E-Type in its classic British Racing Green is what the color is called, British Racing Green, with its chrome bucket wheels, and it's definitely a classic, and we're excited to see that. The Porsche 356A, sponsored by Momo, is another classic that everybody would love to have parked in their driveway for sure. And finally, another classic American vehicle, the Corvette Stingray. So 2 of these cars, the Mustang and the Corvette, are American vehicles. The Porsche is German and the Jaguar is British. And we are headed into race number 1, and all 4 cars come down the track. It looks like the Porsche barely finished, leading, not leading at all, but it looked like the Porsche was left in the dust. And if you're new to Grizzly Mountain racing, the last car is eliminated, and it really doesn't matter what place the others finish in as long as you're not last, until we end up with the last fastest car. So let's bring him back up to the start line. And we have the 3, and it clearly was an American win with the 2 blue American-made cars finishing first and second. And now the championship race, these cars will reset back up to the track top. Also, let's pause that for a second and explain. We do not reshuffle or move lanes in this at this raceway. If you are given a lane, which is by flip of coin earlier on, let's say you're in lane 2, you stay in lane 2 the entire race. So given the philosophy that all 4 lanes are equal. All right, both American cars coming down in lanes 1 and 2, and it looked like, oh, that was quite the come from behind win by the Ford Mustang. The first half of the race, the Corvette was clearly ahead by 2 car lengths, but up and over the bump, the Mustang took the lead and the win and the 5 points. We will see you next time around at Grizzly Mountain Raceway. Mr. Johns out.